Now the latest from the Scottsbluff Body and Paint Sports Desk. Scottsbluff Body and Paint, you're driving home our reputation.
It's time for that opening sports update of the week here on the TV side. Going back to Friday night, one of our own was among the inductees for the second annual Scottsbluff High School Athletic Hall of Fame class. For many years, Rob Barney was the only sports director that KNEB had ever known.
I'm very honored and humbled to be part of this second induction class of the Scottsbluff High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Pretty good for a very unathletic guy.
Of course, he started with a little self-humor. Rob loves those jokes. On a serious professional note, though, Rob called many state championship games over his 30 years here at the station, including 2 Scottsbluff football title games and 2 basketball championship games. But it was another sport that provided another great memory for him.
Bill read off some of the great games that I called for Scottsbluff, had the opportunity to call. But when people ask me about some of my highlights, I go back to the 1988 State Track and Field Championships in Omaha. And I called play-by-play for a lot of things, but never tracked until I did a live report. And Tanya Vaughn happened to be running, and we talked, and I can't remember. She said she came from last in both races to win the 1600 and 3200, so I can't really remember which race it was, but I called her a great stretch run to win. And that's one of the greatest thrills I've had covering Scottsbluff High School athletics, and Tanya's here tonight.
Rob also keeping it real with 2 other all-time stalwarts here in our building.
I would be remiss if I didn't thank 2 of my compadres, Dennis Ernest, longtime program director, and morning man at KNEB. He's responsible for bringing me out here. I think there were times he wishes maybe he didn't. But I thank him for bringing me to Scottsbluff in the summer of 1986. And then I shared a lot of time with a guy that loves the Colorado Buffaloes. And who would have thought that he'd become one of my best friends, and I appreciate his support. Kevin Mooney and his wife Tracy are here tonight. Thank you. Kevin's even wearing red, but it is Scottsbluff red.
In total, there were 15 athletes, 3 coaches, 2 contributors, and 3 teams that were inducted along with Rob as Scottsbluff held their second annual Hall of Fame night. On the gridiron Friday night, Scottsbluff and Gering both won home games over rivals McCook and Shadron. Scottsbluff now 5th in Class B power points, Gering sitting in 7th in power points. Both teams will be on the road Friday for regular season finales ahead of the playoffs starting next week. The playoffs start this week for Bridgeport and C1. Will have their home game with Ravenna on Thursday on 94.1 The Brand with kickoff at 4 o'clock Mountain Time. And tomorrow night, a big volleyball match for WNCC. They'll head over to play at EWC in Torrington. The Cougars coming off a 3-0 week on the road that included wins against Casper Otero and Trinidad State. They improved to 24-7 on the year, and right now they're 6-1 in conference play. KOLT 690, 101.7 for coverage tomorrow night with Chuck Schwartz at 5:45 for the Cougars match at EWC. That is the latest today from right here at the Scottsbluff Body and Paint Sports Desk. I'm Chris Cottrell.